as I'm trying to get Andy better on my own and trying to keep our home functioning, because I was still working. Fortunately, the doctor, I have worked for these doctors for 17 years. They've been very good to me. They were very good to us through all of our struggles. And I never missed a paycheck, no matter what was going on. They were always good to us. So that was our foundation. That is what did keep us from not having any money at all. And at the same time, of course, his parents and my parents knew what was going on, but I didn't talk to them about it, because it was like the more I kept it to myself, the less they would have to know how bad it was. And at the same time, I was trying to protect my 3 boys. I did not want them to have any idea of what was going on in our household. So I tried to just keep everything in control, praying to God, to help me, but at the same time, still holding on to it and not letting him take control. And we did that for a very long time. Our oldest son actually made the comment to me just a few weeks ago that he really has no recollection of his from age 9 to 14. He really remembers nothing. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because that's when it was really bad. But as a mother, it just made me feel like I hid it from him. I guess I did a good job at hiding it from him, because he doesn't remember anything that went on in his life at that time.
I tried, I tried a lot of conventional rehab. I've been to 3 separate rehabs. My first rehab, Angie came and picked me up from the rehab facility and was taking me home, and I told her on the way home, I said I have no desire whatsoever to ever get back in that shape again. We got to the house. She dropped me off because I had to go pick our son up from school. She went back to work, and 5 minutes out of the driveway, I was looking for my hiding places, popped 3 pills, and I was back on the run again. Hadn't been home 30 minutes. And that's the way rehabs worked for me. I could do without it while I was in there. As soon as I got home, I was back on the run again. I'd lost my career. I had destroyed the relationship with my parents, with my in-laws. I was ruining the relationship with my wife. I was scared to death of what I was doing to my boys. And it was in December of 2007. Angie came to me. I can't remember exactly what I'd done. It was something crazy. And she came to me and she said, "Andy, you've hurt me as much as I can stand to be hurt." And her family grew up in Oak Hill, where we go to church now. And she knew of the RU program that Brother Fred was directing. And she said, "Let's try this. Let's just see what happens. If it doesn't work, we don't know what's going to go on." So we went. That first night, I heard Brother Fred preach. It hit a nerve. I connected with how he was preaching, what he was preaching on. I met a couple of very close, very dear brothers there. Brother Mike Young and Brother Harold Berg. And I continued to go every Friday night. We started going to church every Sunday. The only thing was I didn't stop taking the pills. I was still taking 30 to 50 pills a day. And that was just to get by. And on February 15th, 2008, that's my birthday, I got caught forging a prescription. And my dad had to take me to the police station. When he found out about it, he turned me in. He took me there. while I was giving my statement to the police officer, he asked my dad, he said, is there anything you'd like to add? And he said, when this boy was growing up, and my dad ran a drilling business. He had a lot of heavy machinery and so on. And he said, when this boy was growing up, I'd trust him with anything I had. A $500,000 piece of machinery, wouldn't think a second thought about it. Today, I would trust him with a pencil. Now, like any son, I treasure my dad. The last thing I ever wanted to do in my life was disappoint my father. And what killed me wasn't that he said it. What killed me and broke my heart was that it was true. I couldn't trust myself with anything. And so we left the police station. They didn't arrest me at the time because they were going to, of course, investigate and go on through things. So I went home. On my way home, I came up with the idea. I've got the answer for this. I've got the solution. I'll kill myself. So my boys were at daycare. I got my dad to drop me off at home by myself. I sat down in the chair. I gathered up everything in the house I could find to take. I started taking it and writing the letter to my wife and my kids.
I was at work this day, and I had talked to him off and on that day, but then as the afternoon progressed, every time I'd call his cell phone, he wouldn't answer, and then he wouldn't answer the home phone. So I started getting a really bad gut feeling that something was wrong. But I actually even called my in-laws, but they didn't tell me what had happened at that point, because they wanted me to get through work and then tell us about it that evening. Andy had told him that he wanted to be the one to tell me what was going on, so it put them in a tough situation. So when I left work, I went to daycare to pick the boys up, and my boys, as always, are hungry, so they wanted to go get something to eat. Our oldest son had a basketball game that night. He, at this point, was a freshman in high school, and he had a basketball game that night, and we were preparing for the RU banquet. And so I thought I'll run and get them something to eat, take it home, and they'll eat while I'm getting ready. Well, about halfway to McDonald's, I just got a really, really gut-sick feeling. And something told me to turn around, that I just needed to go home. So I turned around, and I head home. And when I walk into the house, Andy's sitting in the recliner with all the medicine laying around. The letter is still in his lap because he passed out while writing it. He hadn't even finished it. And his breathing was very labored. And so I immediately took the boys to the back bedroom. I called 911, told them they were on their way, and I went in and I just kept yelling at him and screaming at him. I was mad at him. I was so mad at him I couldn't even see straight. So after I had called 911 and they were on their way, I called my in-laws and told them that they needed to come to help me with the boys. And as soon as my mother and father-in-law got there, I kind of left the room. I didn't want to be around him. I was so angry and so mad that I couldn't even fathom why it had got this bad and why he would do this, so selfish to do this to me and his boys.
They took me to the hospital, and the first time I remember waking up was my mom was at the head of the bed, and she was patting me on the head saying, Andy, open your eyes, Andy. And my mom is like the definition of a mother's love. She's naive and gullible when it comes to, you can tell her the sky's green and she'll believe it, if it comes from me or my brother. But she was just rubbing my head, and when I woke up and my eyes opened and I seen where I was at, I was madder than I think I've ever been in my life. I was so angry and bitter because, like the old cliche, I couldn't even kill myself right. I had failed again. And I knew that I was going to lose my family. I knew that I was going to jail. I knew that, and I passed out. The next time I woke up, there's 3 men in my room. It's Brother Fred, Mike Young, and Harold Burke. Harold had a hold in my hand, and my eyes opened. I seen Harold, and I thought, these are 3 guys that for the last 3 months I've been portraying myself as clean, studying the Bible, the Christian I'm supposed to be, and then today I've done this. They're going to hate me. I'm the biggest hypocrite that ever walked. The first words out of her Brother Harold's mouth was, Andy, we love you. We'll stand you back up from this. At that time, I closed my eyes and I talked to God for the first time in a long time. And I didn't make any deals. I didn't try to barter. I had nothing to barter with. I asked him for one simple thing. Help. Jesus, just help me.
Amen.
Whatever I have to do, help me.
At this same time, I still hadn't went to see Andy. I was out in the waiting room because I just wasn't ready to see him because I didn't know what to say to him. So I went to the bathroom just to be by myself, and right there in the bathroom, I got down on my knees and I just prayed. Just, God, take this. I've tried for so long to take care of this, and I now realize I cannot do it. As much as I love Andy, you love him more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's yours. I'm letting go. And for the first time, I completely, 110% let go of it. And I literally felt Jesus lifted off my shoulders.
Amen.
And I knew at that point in time that God was in control and it was going to get better. I didn't know for a fact, but I did know that God was in control. And I was not going to take it back. I didn't want it back.
When I said my prayer, I had this, it was like a starburst, 2 or 3 starbursts up in the corner of the room. And I've described that to a lot of people, and they say, well, it was because of all the junk you'd put in your system. It was, because of, this and that. At that moment, when I seen that, I was free.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't have the worry. I didn't have the weight. I didn't have the stress that I had. I was just at peace. And from that point on, I don't know why, addicts, when they get clean, there's a process of withdrawal. And then from after you clear up the withdrawal, you still got the psychological addiction. You still got your mind telling you every time that your thumb aches, you have to take something.